Well, good evening, everybody. And first of all, we'll acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, work and play. We'll pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging and recognise their continued connection to these lands and waterways. And we acknowledge our shared responsibility to care for and protect our place and people. So welcome to our community members that have joined us via the webcast and also in the public gallery for the 22nd of May 2023 Central Coast Council Public Forum. I now will declare that public forum open, just to remind people that the forum is the first to be held during our 3-month trial period, which does explore this hybrid format and holding the public forum on the Monday evening preceding an ordinary council meeting. Now, just to remind you why we've done it, in terms of both the CEO and myself, and for that matter, most of the executive, have experienced quite a lot of time in councils over our years. And one of the things that I think disappoints us is when you have public forum immediately prior to a council meeting and things and issues get raised which neither staff nor the councillors have been able to take into consideration. And they don't get a chance to talk about it in the way the public meeting, the meeting follows the public forum. And the staff don't get a chance to advise council on things. So there's a good reason why we want to do it that way, so that councillors in the future particularly are better informed and hopefully will make better decisions. And of course, as you're well aware, we did have some poor governance options taken by the previous council, but they are certainly not alone in operating that manner. So that is the reason why we're behind making these changes, to trial it, to see if it can work a little better. We're also able to give speakers more time because we're not pushed for having to start a formal council meeting at a formal time. So we can give speakers a little bit more time. And as probably will occur tonight, I suspect, when Norman speaks, I will be asking staff to think about that, to give me some advice about it before the council meeting tomorrow, and then to ask the staff person to perhaps explain or reply to the questions that have been made when the paper comes up at tomorrow night's meeting. So that's the way we're intending to sort of run this process. So hopefully at the next public forum we'll get a few more taking the opportunity, if not to speak about items on the agenda, but to take the opportunity, if there's not more than 8 speakers speaking on the agenda, to be able to speak and talk to council about anything. And that's a big change, because that allows people to raise something with the council, in front of councillors in the future, on an item which isn't necessarily on the agenda. Anyway, we'll move forward. As part of this process, council will undertake some formal public consultation following seeking submissions and feedback. So I encourage people to have their say on this new format, and I look forward to seeing the council report in due course when it will detail any changes that are to be made once community consultation has concluded. So we are holding this public forum here today to hear from community members who have registered to speak on items before the council meeting tomorrow evening. And I ask that the community members be listened to in silence and with respect. And as you can see on the screen, there are some rules we want to remind people to that their image is being broadcast and what they say is being broadcast, so to be careful, and please keep your phones off. So I will now ask the staff if there are any conflicts of interest to disclose in matters being discussed today. I'm not aware of any, and we'll take that as read. And we now have one person, Norman Harris, who's going to address us. Good evening, Norman, and welcome. You're the very first of maybe a new format. And your item 2.4, determination of water, wastewater and stormwater drainage charges for 2023-24. And I note that you're against the charges.
Well, I've got quite a bit of evidence here to support what I've got to say. You know, hopefully I'll be
Sorry, I will just remind you, do have 5 minutes, but I'll give you another 10 seconds of me interrupting.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'll start, and then I'll hopefully go back onto this information later on. Tonight is an end of pipe night. This is when the public, veterans, and the member for Robertson, Dr. Gordon Reid, rely on the honesty and transparency of the council to provide true facts. In the Council's IPART presentation, October 2021, October, it described sewage treatment plants and water treatment plants as degraded. It also referred to failing service standards, increasing customer complaints, deteriorating compliance with environmental protection licence conditions. There was no advice in item 2.4 as to the expenditure of over $223 million to address this unsatisfactory infrastructure. Is it to be used, and I refer to the latest Coast Community Water newsletter, to provide infrastructure for a Gosford waterfront icon concept that depends on future technical studies. Director Jamie Loader stated in the Central Coast Water Security Plan, 31st of August 2022, this is what Jamie said: "This plan will ensure there is enough water on the coast for all residents until 2051. I objected, in my submission, and I'm here tonight because I did make a submission on the water plan and I wanted to follow it up to make sure that the council understood that this is not just an issue that I've just begun to become interested in. I've followed it for quite some time. So the other question I've got here now, in relation to what I've already said, does the council know what percentage of the $223 million will be allocated to water security to 2051, years beyond the demand of current residents and veterans? The Senior Accountant and Chief Financial Officer, which refers to tonight's agenda, should have this information available for tonight and tomorrow night's meeting. The agenda item doesn't give any details whatsoever. All it is based on the finances and Director Loader without any environmental input at all. And this should be part of what the agenda should include, that information. So now I refer to the evidence. Now, this water security plan from 2021, it states in the summary that it's an overview. Well, what it is, it's an overview of an overview, because any study done in 2021 that continues to 2051 can't be responsible. It can't determine what's going to happen in 30 years. It's impossible. So in the intervening years, there must be, and as it says here, this is the latest update in 13 years. So there's been a big gap in the council's assessment of water security over that time. Now, referring to the EPA, in 1995, the EPA and CSIRO produced the regional impact of the greenhouse effect on New South Wales. This is what they said. This is what was from the CSIRO. Changes outside the ranges presented here cannot be ruled out, nor can confidence levels be reliably quantified. Therefore, it is premature to treat scenarios produced by climate models as predictions. They are merely CSIRO's best estimates of plausible futures. Now, experts have said, and I've referred this to experts, have said that this report from 1995 has underestimated climate change and the impacts of climate change. So how Mr. Loader can actually say that we're going to have water security to 2051, I really don't understand. And the fact is, I really have problem joining the dots in all this information from the council. So then we go on to the latest information, which is the Central Coast newsletter, right? From April 2023. Now, it says here under major works, Council's ambitious program of works to support growth in Gosford is on track for 2024 completion. This critical infrastructure will support the shared vision to transform Gosford into an iconic waterfront. Now, I have trouble trying to connect iconic waterfront to water and sewerage. How can the Director of Water and Sewerage be related to an iconic waterfront in Gosford? I just don't understand that at all. So exactly what, and if there is an iconic waterfront, we're still relying on many and many technical studies, which you've referred to the council before, regarding funding for these studies. So the money that's going to this iconic waterfront, that I understand the public are paying for, well, I mean, and it's only in theory because it depends on more technical studies, which is stated in the agenda previously. So how is it that we're paying extra money now for what I believe is a theoretical concept for the Gosford waterfront? And as I said before, all those issues that you've stated with supporting information on this, there's no information like quality of water, mains flushing, etc. There's no information in the agenda of how those items are going to be addressed with this $223 million.
Okay, I'll have to ask you to finish there, but there's a couple of points there that we'll take some advice on. I think even Alice might need to make a comment probably on the waterfront. So what we'll do is I'll give you one. Okay, just a few seconds. Come on.
Yeah, no. When I've referred to Dr. Reid, I've actually referred the issue of the waterfront to Dr. Reid. And because I thought it was in his interest to know what was going on, and rather than being advised from the council, to be advised from the public. So the council did respond, and I've actually thanked the member for Robertson for his input, and thanked him for pursuing my inquiry to the council.
Right. Okay. Look, thank you for that, Mr. Harris. And as I said, I'll get some advice on the comments and questions you've raised and points you've raised, and then we'll answer that tomorrow, which you can watch on the internet or turn up, whichever you like. But also, we intend to come up afterwards, so if you want to have a bit of a yarn up the top, at the back outside, as I close this down, more than happy to. If you've got some other stuff there you might take the... well, we'll finish this and then catch us up. Yeah.
Refer to this. This is the from the survey. It says this is at 4.2.1.4. Now these are the words. Please indicate how strongly you agree or disagree with the following goals. And the single word is financial. Now how you can interpret that, I have no idea whatsoever.
Okay, let's talk about it up the back afterwards. So with that, thank you for coming along tonight and being the first speaker. You've gone down in history. With that, I will now declare the public forum closed, and the link to the webcast can be found on the council's website. But as I said, so members of the gallery and yourself, we're going to pop up the back now, and